there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to High Top Sports. Massive W there for the, massive might be a little over the top, but you know how I like to use my words, mayhem, shambles. We like to get fired up and rowdied up in here. Big W, though, on the road. A little Raging Cajun action, and a little extra season for the boys. Kind of a little dicey there in the first half. We're going to talk all about it. Russ Callaway promoted once again. Listen, this thing broke on Friday, I believe it was, and I was in shambles. Like, I refused to even talk about it because we already talked about it. Like, actually, like legitimately. Like, I thought the news already broke. So I was kind of in this like fog, to be honest with you. And then we've got just, what's the word I want to use? Pussyitis? Probably not the best word. with what's happening here with these canceling the spring games. I'm in awe. I need my boy Greg to step in and be like, hey, this is the SEC. It means more. We don't function that way. We don't do that. All right. Happy Saturday, boys. We rock and roll with these shows on Saturday. We enjoy them. Hope you do as much as we do. Let's say hey to the chat and let's get boogie with it because you know Cody Professor's dialed in, ready to crack that Busch Latte open and get a little dicey with it. You know what I'm saying? Scott 020, go Gators. Trifobi Roby, go Gators. Ricky Buchholz, OC for football. I have arrived. Rookie Lentz. This is why Rookie fits in perfectly. He can't spell like the rest of us. I love it. Ricky Buchholz, let's go. What's up? Lucky Chucky, yo. Purely missionary. Always good to be LSU. Famous, yo. Eddie, what up? Tyler Bohannon. Dangling with Dev. Squad. IB Mac, let's go. What are we drinking? Muddy Waters. OC, that ain't going to get one play call in. Stop it. Mario Towns. Jason Stacy. Terry Waters. For the boys, Tony 2X. Let's get it. Let's go, boys and girls. Let's get old Coatster in here and see how he's doing. Our glue. Our buzz cut, if you will. That's a tall boy. That's a tall boy right there. That thing is full sending, my guy. Hold on.
I'm a man of many flavors.
Go.
As long as it's Busch Light.
You're on a diet. What's up,
I know.
bro? I'm supposed to be keeping you accountable here.
I've been waiting all weekend for this.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. Just making sure. Just want to,
Yeah.
I'm your accountability partner, okay? And I got to make sure that I keep you in check here. Cody's Billy's sons. I love it. Devil Dog, member for 30 months. Think about that. That man has been riding for 30 months.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a commitment. That's longer than you and your ex-wife's last relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Definitely longer than that. Well, I think I'm about to hit my 3-year mark here, NFL draft with High Top.
Yeah. You made your debut 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Late night phone call. Cody answered the buck, was ready to rock and roll. Dangle with Dev says this man just chased a beer with a beer. I mean, that's the Cody special for you, boys. You never know what you're gonna get. You are looking a little pasty though. Might be a little bit too on the.
I think it's the lighting in
You're
here.
really leaning into the glue.
Yeah.
Mantra,
Yeah,
which I respect it. I appreciate it. I'm all in for it.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing? You feeling good? How you feeling with the basketball?
Yeah, I think I'll say this about basketball. It's really cool to see that we have multiple players that can take over a game.
Yes, ma'am.
Hauk had a heck of a game. Chinyelu had a heck of a game. I thought he shot a little too much early. And then when it went and got tough and the sledding got tough, put it on Walter Clayton's back because he is the best player in men's basketball right now.
Look, I love this. Let's talk about this team here. I've been saying this since the beginning of the year, right? When we had kind of a couple of slip-ups. I was like, this team needs to be able to find a win multiple ways. They did that tonight, right? Hawk with 16 points, Ruben with 19 points, Elijah Martin comes back, absolutely lights it up with 14. Will Richard, 0 points. No big deal, though. We know what Will can do. I don't need to see that. I want to see other people get involved. Walter Clayton got 13 points. But again, the backcourt wasn't as loud as it normally is. Still got it done. 79-65. Great defense. Coming off hot start, get a little lethargic there. They go on a big run to close out the second half, but Florida said, no, this is our show. We're here to rock and roll. So handled their business. We got Georgia on Tuesday on the road. Look, I think that game's going to be a little bit, it doesn't matter, but we need to get it done. We can't take a loss to Mike White. And then we've got, the last big stretch happens as we head into Saturday, which College Game Day will be in Gainesville on Saturday. Start of my vacation, which I am beyond excited for. But of course, against A&M, then Alabama, then what's the last one? Is it Texas? 3 ranked games to close out the season headed into the SEC championship. And it looks like we will ultimately get the 2-round bye into that SEC championship. And look, I think if we're able to close out, honestly, if we went out, I think 100% we'll get the 2-round bye. But I also think we'll lock a number 1 seed in for March Madness. That's how confident I am in this team. Go ahead.
I'll definitely be there. They play here in Indianapolis, so I'm excited. If they do lock the two round buy-in, it's going to be quite expensive for me, but it is what it is.
The SEC tournament's in Indy, correct? Is what you're saying?
No. The March Madness tournament. They play here.
Well, okay. So they don't have. There's no buy in the tournament, so you'll get.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Also, the 2-round the buy is just for the SEC tournament. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah,
because everybody plays.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the top 4 seeds will get. There's 2 rounds in the tournament, so they'll get a bye, two buys, which I think is good. They don't need to play any more basketball than they're already playing. So, yeah, you'll get them first round, and hopefully, more likely it's going to be a 16 seed. Go ahead.
Big Ten tournament is here. So I might go to if I can get some cheap tickets, I might go to see a little Oregon.
Go check them out. Go check out the comp, right? Boots on the ground type of stuff.
Yeah.
And we got 106 strong, boys and girls. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. Ivy Mac, 26 months of membership, says, let's start a GoFundMe to get Cody a tanning bed. You know what I mean? I love the support for you, Codes. I think it's great that the guys all step in to want to help you out. But look, I see somebody saying the 2025 Tyler Bohannon is the year of the Gator. You got to like where this team is at, man. We had, obviously, the CEO of Florida Victorious on Eric Reasoner just the other day, and he was talking about the success that other sports are having. Basketball being one. Baseball just absolutely steamrolling people right now, looking absolutely phenomenal. Softball, I think, is ranked top 5 currently. Gymnastics, swimming. I mean, you name it, you look at this Florida all the way around. Look,
baseball.
Everything's cool. Yeah, I said baseball. Thanks for adding that. Just looking really good. And, the last little piece to that puzzle is going to come in August, early September with Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. They've got to complete this circle. Again, it has the vibes of the early 2000s, 06, 08 era, where everything, well, I don't remember how much baseball and those guys were doing back then, but we know what basketball was doing back then. So if we can kind of have a little 1-2 punch, what I keep saying this team, what excites me is just, it's an all-around really good basketball team. And, we're still not getting a lot of respect. I heard the announcers tonight kind of just talking about how we're not on the same tier level as Auburn. You saw, what's his name on TNT, not Shaq, the other one.
I skipped past that. I don't watch the halftime show. They're always hating on us. We can't do no. We're always bad in their eyes. It's always a guy from Auburn or a guy from Duke, or they're always talking about what's his name, Flag.
Look, he's great. I mean, he's fantastic. He's
a one-man band.
He's the best player in basketball right now. But yeah, I think that's a big thing, and I think you can go far. And this is why I'm way more concerned with what our seeding is in the tournament. Again, we talked about it last year. You slip into that 5, 6, 7, 8 mark, which we're not close to that, but you fall into that category. You're an upset central. 5 plays 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10. That 7-10 game is a gauntlet. And then, of course, 8-9 is just an absolute dogfight. Yeah, Charles Barkley said that Florida is making their way, and this was after we took down Auburn. The Alabama game is, again, the big one for me. That one's going to be where we release the true litmus test, if you will, to see how this Florida bodes up. And I think what everybody will say, but Bama's on a little bit of a skid. They dropped two big ones here in the last couple of days, and we're still not getting the same respect. It's okay. I kind of like it. I really don't care how everyone feels about us, as long as the AP poll looks at us in a certain way and puts us where we need to be for seeding wise. They can say all they need to say. Locker room material. Put it on the bulletin board. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. The only concern I have with this basketball team is at times they look lackadaisical or just get sloppy with the ball. A lot of turnovers in that last, I would say, 5 minutes of the first half.
Good point that you bring up. Go ahead.
Big run. LSU goes on a big run, and then they just kind of they bounce back, obviously, coming out in the second half. But You go up against a really, really elite shooting team that's shooting lights out, you're going to get beat because LSU, they shot good, but they didn't shoot lights out like the team we lost against. I'm trying to think.
Mizzou or
Mizzou?
Tennessee?
Was it Mizzou? Mizzou that shot lights out that game.
Yeah, Tennessee did too. Tennessee did as well.
Yeah.
Look, you make a good point about this Florida team. You don't want to kind of get in the habit of starting off slow. It kind of reminds us of what this Georgia football team this past year, right? That just they would kind of figure it out. It's like, yeah, they keep continuing to start slow, and that all of a sudden becomes your identity. And you don't want that to become your identity rolling into, especially the tournament, because if you give somebody like that kind of feeling in the tournament, if a team closes like that in the tournament, the mindset's different. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, hey, it's 20 minutes. We just did something incredible. It can kind of tick. So you don't want to get into that habit of that. And like I think they've showed times of dominance. They've kind of been on honestly after that big 4-game stretch, they've had a little bit more of a quiet one, especially even going again headed into Georgia on Tuesday. It's been I would say an easier patch of this SEC schedule. So I would like for the let's kind of create an identity these last 4. Let's make this the next chunk of 4 that you rock, because then you're going to have a pretty, a week off essentially for the SEC tournament that you can kind of sit back and relax and get back into a rhythm. So I hope that's how Todd approaches these next 4, but we'll see.
Yeah. Also, we're missing Condon still. He's resting that ankle.
Good point.
And Alexis.
Good point. It's crazy to think that we're looking like we look like with talent that we know it has huge impact on the court when it's rock and rolling here. Florida, yeah, you guys talking about, it was Charles Barkley that made the comment about Auburn and Florida not being on the same level that Auburn's higher. And I understand that Charles went to Auburn, so obviously there's going to be bias there. I get it. I understand where he's coming from. But, I would hope he would have a little more of a unbiased perspective on it. But look, again, it's just guys talking. I think even Jay Bayless had Florida a little bit lower than the AP poll. Again, it's all noise. Doesn't mean anything much to me. I get it. These other teams have looked more dominant in other games, and that's where the hype is coming from. So I'm cool with it. Look, a game like this, I think we should have dominated more. We probably would have been more in the conversation. So that's kind of where I think a lot of people are looking at it. Let's talk about this. I guess you can call it offensive coordinator news. Here's the thing. I know for a fact, and maybe we took a what if situation and ran with it, but I want to say we talked about this after Billy Napier's presser on National Signing Day, which was February 4th, I think. Mm-hmm. He mentioned it in the presser that there was intentions to promote Russ Callaway. Like I'm like 95% sure, because we talked about it on the show. Had a great conversation. Cam Parker came on and we joked. I remember joking that, hopefully we won't hear about the OC noise again because people were tired of hearing about it, because this was the end of it. This was like we knew. And what was reported again was already stated that Russ will be promoted, but Billy will retain play calling. So I was just in shambles when the news broke as if this was new, and then everyone kind of just got to basically relive that Napier's not going to hand it off or do any of these things once again. Like I didn't even know what to say or talk about it, because I was like, we've already talked about this. How is this actually? And I guess again, because it was the pen had hit the paper when prior it had not. So I don't know. Interesting stuff.
I think I'll say this. Well, it's a good move by Billy Napier if he believes in Russ Callaway. He is seriously climbing up the mountain of the coaching echelon pretty quickly. I mean, don't forget, I think he was started out as a off-field analyst, and he's a tight end coach. Now he's an OC. And I would say there's probably some teams that were circling around the Russ Callaway train to nab him. And let's not forget, guys, Blake Crane has said it multiple times. Play calling is not a one-man band. There's a lot of things that are going into the actual play calling and decision making. Billy Napier, yes, says at the last second yes or no, but for all we know, Russ is putting the packages in, and he's putting the formations in, and then Billy Napier says run or pass, or yes, I like this, or let's go for this here. So I don't think Billy Napier's 100% calling every single play, zebra right, fire 9, XL 27 dagger. I'm not saying he's doing that.
Who gave Cody the playbook? Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, It's just people get so hung up on the play calling of Billy Napier, and it's a group thing. Now, I do like Callaway over Rob Sale, because Rob Sale's an offensive lineman coach, and there's only one thing offensive lineman coaches want to do, and that's run the dang ball. I think that we do need to still run the ball. I'm not saying we go air raid and pass it out, but I think with the weapons we have, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of some four down, four wide receiver sets for sure.
Look, I think, and Terry said this is the second time you promoted Russ. That's how it feels. That's literally how it feels. And even
Well,
Devil Dog says, if I was Russ, I wouldn't want the title of OC if Billy was calling the plays. And again, that's kind of what we've alluded to. Wrote an article about this as well. As I believe that, and I said this when we talked about it originally, I think that it's going to be a team effort. And I think Billy doesn't necessarily want that pressure to be out there vocally because he saw what it did with Austin. And somebody say, like, well, that's kind of a dumb move. But I think kind of Devil knocks it on the head too. Is that he's not going to, someone's not going to take a promotion without with having some say in this. And I talked with Silk on Logo Talk on Friday. Awesome time there. And I asked him about, he's been breaking all kinds of news. So I asked him about what's up with Rob Sale. And he says, look, he's still on staff, but he definitely took a demotion. Lost his title as OC, obviously, with the promotion of Russ Callaway. So I think the reason for the holdup was he was apparently looking around as well, too. Again, we still haven't had a confirmation about that. That's what's crazy to me is that we're breaking this news twice. We still don't have other coaches that are officially signed, from my understanding, that I'm waiting to hear on, because we've been seeing a lot of articles written about DeCoster and how his impact on recruiting. And again, you got to wonder how much of, I mean, we saw just the improvement last year from offensive line, and the only massive change was DeCoster. And so I wonder how confident they feel with him doing the job. Now, if Rob was to move on, does Billy go and try to find a second offensive line coach once again? That's another point to keep in mind. So we'll keep eyes on it. But everyone had their fun with this again, kind of Dave included, trolling the this offensive coordinator news, which that's kind of what annoyed me the most, is that people just kind of got rowdy and upset again for like something that we already knew. At least I thought we all knew, but apparently we did not. So we had to talk about it again. I joked. I said Billy's going to drop the news again. I was kidding, but he wasn't. He dropped it again. So maybe we'll get another update in the spring that Russ Callaway is in fact calling the plays, and we'll get to do this all over again.
Well, I'll tell you this: we'll know right away if Russ is calling the plays.
He's not going to call his plays in the spring game. Remember, they split the teams up, so we don't really get a true pulse of it anyways.
No, I'm talking in the season. I'm talking game 1, 2, 3. And I do think I don't think that Russ Callaway didn't have any say in play calling. But we saw a lot of deep shots down the field from DJ Lagway.
Silk said on the show that he had a lot of say in the A&M game. That Russ Callaway had a lot of say. We didn't look the greatest. So,
one game. It's one game.
No, I know.
And
but
I'm gonna say this: some of the concepts that they are running with those 4 down wide receivers that we did go to, some of the shot plays were out of the air raid. They were air raid-esque plays, and plays that Billy Napier hasn't really ran all that much before. I mean, what was our knack when Graham Mertz was slinging the rock? We didn't take enough deep shots, right? I think that Russ was working with DJ, and that he's going to have quite a bit of say so in the play calling. He might not be calling 98% of plays, but I think it's going to be a
subscribe for Shelton Glue and Tiny Dave. Had a little bit of a lag issue here, boys. I don't know if we're rocking and rolling. Good news, screens fixed. We're rocking and rolling on that, boys. So happy to have that back in action. Boys and girls, smash the like button, subscribe to the show. Of course, brought to you by BetUS. Been powering us all season long. Right now, if you go to betus.com, use the code YouTube150, you get back 150% on your first deposit, then $125 on your next two for up to $2,000 deposit. Get in on the action right now. Obviously, March Madness is coming up. This next 2 weeks will be fun to get in on the action with Florida Gators basketball. Betting on them, put your money on them. Plenty of other things you can get in on with that as well. And then, of course, we've got the horse race coming up in May. I know that seems far away, but it'll be here before you know it. So get in on after it. Let's talk about this, man. We talked about it actually, I think 2 Saturdays ago. And now it seems to be becoming an actual legitimate thing here about Matt Rule talking about or canceling. I think now it's official. He is canceling his spring game. And we had our thoughts and opinions about it. And I think, you made a good point of like, if the whole point of canceling the spring game was so they could avoid tampering, that was kind of the baseline of it. It's like, look, if you really think that that one game is going to create, mayhem, if you will, in regards of tampering, you got another thing coming. And Napier he's already kind of came out and stood on his line with it, saying, look, you pick your poison. You either learn how to manage that as a coach, or you deal with a pissed off fan base. And I think he's in a place to have a pissed off fan base. So I don't think he's going to make any moves. But Sarkis and Steve Sark, and look, what it irritates me is that you're not embodying the SEC mindset where it means more. Him and Lincoln Riley both have come out alongside Matt Rule. I expect that from Matt Rule. I expect that from Lincoln Riley. Bunch of bumps, right? Soft. That's fine. Go do you. Lincoln, nobody's watching, bud. We quit watching 2 years ago. You've lost your sexiness. You've lost your lust. And Matt, the only people that are tuning in to watch Nebraska football are going to be your boy and what's his name? Dylan Raiola.
Oh,
and everyone already knows the secret. It's no big secret there. So I think, to me, for something like a Nebraska team, man, again, nobody's, like we talked about too, nobody was running to the remotes to go watch Nebraska spring football. But college football is good when Nebraska football is good. It's important, and I think that's, you want to keep that in. Let me read the article here on what was said. That's what really, I think, kind of provoked me to even get more, more fired up about it, because this is similar to what's going on right now with this NHL and NBA argument. It says, no, we're not going to have a spring game, Texas coach Sark said to Kay Adams on the Up and Adams show Thursday. College football is changing right now. We need to do a great job of coaches of adapting. Sark said in the past 2 years, Texas had played 30 games and had 25 players invited to the NFL Combine. He said that wear and tear and the turnover, with 21 mid-year recruits arriving recently, meant it was time to think differently. Normally, you play your last game and you have a bowl game, 30 days off. Texas, we went last game at Texas A&M, then the SEC Championship, home game, quarterfinal, and semifinal. The reality is we played 4 extra games. In my mind, it was, hey, guys, we got to reimagine what the spring looks like. This is, again, that what's the NBA saying is like, hey, we play a lot. We make the most money. We should get to sit out and not have to worry about doing what others are doing. That makes zero sense. You're still practicing. You're still playing this. You're not going to have a spring game at all. Like, what the spring game, in my opinion, I kind of get what he's saying, is that we've extended the regular season a little bit. But we're talking a 4-month swing. So the spring game in April has nothing to do with...
You're talking a whole new team.
Yeah, they're not. And look, I think you said it on the show last time, and Billy said it. It's like, look, there's a lot of great things. Not only do the fans enjoy it, it's a place for us to kind of look. It's a practice rep for us as fans to get through the tailgate. Where we're going to park, how are we going to be rock and roll this season in the swamp, doing those things. I joke, but we like to get our rep in, and then of course you got new guys coming in. It gets the jitters out of the way of playing in the swamp for the first time, and it's for a spring game. It's electric. It's an absolute awesome time. Joey Slackman. Good times, Joey. Came in last time. It was the biggest crowd he'd ever played in front of. And he was a 4-year senior in college. Again, he played at Penn. But you kind of get a little bit of a feel out of it. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it at all. I really think Sankey's got to step in here and say, look, you got to play. It's a money grab, too, which is weird.
Speaking of money grab, this is the worst. I should have retweeted it to you. So I watched a 5-minute deal on a media pundit say, well, the reason that they're getting rid of spring games is because it's a loss for the university, because they don't charge ticket admissions and they still have to staff the facility and this and that. And then, the salary cap of revenue sharing, and it's fiscally not responsible to have a spring game, bro. College football makes billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. Shut up. We get our one free game.
I forgot that it is free. And we make up for it in food sales. I'm sure that it's fine. And in clothing sales that day. I forgot that it is free. But I think
$34 million net loss. Who cares? Have you seen a season ticket? They're $500, $600 a game.
Agreed. You cut the spring game, cut the ticket prices for me then. The money that
Jesus.
the money you're saving from this, cut the ticket prices in half. We got 10 gifted high top memberships from Firm Handshake. My man, Firm Handshake. Appreciate you. Good to see you again. Last time when I said I hadn't seen him before, he was like, "What? I've been here all the time, and you're just now noticing it." I apologize, Firm, but thank you. But yeah, I hate this. I think that it's bad. Levi says canceling spring games are dumb, in my opinion. I mean, it gives every player a chance to go out there and show what they got. And agreed, break the jitters. Canceling the spring game will prevent portal jumps. So that's where I disagree. Again,
Them kids know.
exactly. There's no way that they go out there and they have a spring game. Again, you could argue like someone like a Jaden Ball, who really kind of turned some eyeballs, I would say. And, you kind of heard, but we heard about it. It wasn't like these guys were secrets going into this. The noise about in practice gets out. Now, there was an article talking about just kind of how a lot of these new recruits coming in this year, Bryce Underwood, Keelan Russell, some of the edge guys that were showing out, really turning some heads. And we've talked about it before too. I said, look, I think the line between the number one recruit in the country to the 200th recruit in the country is getting like this. It's getting thinner and thinner, right? The margin of error, just because of the technology and what's going into it. And we were talking about it today. I went to a baseball game. The mindset of these parents and these kids is shifting dramatically because you have an opportunity in a much wider branch now to make money at a sooner rate. Before, you were just going for 32 teams and a much smaller percentage to kind of make it. That has expanded by the numbers. I can't even think of how much it's expanded, like 10 times, because of how many D1 teams there are. I mean, you've got just 16 teams alone in the SEC. There's 32 just between those two. Then you got obviously the ACC. And then of course the Big 12, and even smaller schools those guys are still racking it in. So went from just 30 teams where you can make money to almost 100 teams now where you have an opportunity to kind of cash in on an NIL deal. So the investment that's going into this, to these kids and what they're doing with just as amount of camps that there are, the elevation of these guys and how good these freshmen are coming in, it's going to be, the game's getting faster and it's becoming a little more insane. I think where we will see a drop-off is, I would say, the mental development, which we've talked about that, because a lot of these quarterbacks they've got the skill and they've got the ability to get it done. They look the part very soon, very quickly, but up here still takes time. You still need the years under your belt to get over that hump. And so that's where I think there's a little bit of a drop-off from college to NFL at the moment. But yeah, I hate it. It's one of those things where I feel like as fans, this game that we've known and loved for quite some time has changed dramatically over the last couple of years. And I would say
even the NFL has preseason.
Yeah, and then look, they dwindled it, right? They changed it a little bit with the extension of adding a game, but I think where the difference from my thought process with the preseason was, you could just do one and be done with it. You're playing 3 and 4 games, and it gets to the point where it's like, okay, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I think that's where the NFL came into play. The spring game too is so far, like it's not even like correlated because it's so far in advance. It's 4 or 5 months ahead. It's a little fun thing for us to kind of piece us together from season to season.
Boy, you come out on a 3 or 4 game skid and you didn't play the spring game, watch out, because the media jackals are going to be after you like a hungry dog after a chicken bone.
That's a good point. I mean, now the other flip flop is if they do come out hot, it's going to be like because nobody had any touches on. I hope the teams that sit out get tampered the hell out of. I hope they get absolutely worked because of this.
Well, you think about this. You have 2 young quarterbacks out of the two. Actually, I don't even know who USC's quarterback is going to be, but you have 2 young quarterbacks in Arch Manning that needs playing time, and Dylan Raiola.
You need that practice rep. You need that feeling.
Need the practice rep. And then the guy behind him. Those guys can go out any second. All it takes is a false step on a bad turf somewhere in Jacksonville, and you're hurting.
It also shows too, because I think of a team like Colorado, right, where their last 2 years spring game was massive, sold out, quote unquote sold out. He aired on ESPN for the first year. I mean, it was a massive recruiting haul, just bringing energy to them. And they took full advantage of their spring game, which had like 3 people prior to that. And so I think they capitalized on it perfectly. Another point that Muddy says, look, I still remember going to the spring game in 2013 and saw Ronald Powell tear his ACL. Look, that's That's part of the game. They're still gonna play that day.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not
Yeah.
playing. It's just maybe the way that it's played. They still do these these scrimmages, like these. That's not changing. So
Don't
I don't think them playing in front of someone, not playing in front of somebody. I mean, what's going to happen is going to happen. We can't. We try as fans. We try to think like, oh, if he wasn't, he shouldn't be playing. Like you can't think like that. I mean, you could argue, oh, why play at all? Well, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I don't like to get into that rabbit hole of like, well, maybe we should sit out the last 4 games so that we can take care of them. It's like they're in a rhythm. Play the game.
We've seen guys walking off the sideline blow Achilles out.
Wake up
Teddy
too
Bridgewater
fast.
blew it. Teddy Bridgewater blew his ACL or his knee out so bad they had to medevac him. Not even playing. He was on the field. He was throwing on air, and he tore his knee so bad they medevaced him. They thought he was going to lose his leg.
Who?
Teddy Bridgewater for the Vikings.
That's bad. Well, that's just playing for Minnesota. That's the bad luck.
That's luck. Yeah, that's the bad luck. But here's another thing with the spring game is you got a team like Oregon, right? I don't think Dan Lanning goes ahead and says no, we're not gonna have a spring game because they Dante Moore needs the reps. They got some new piece. They got a bunch of transfer portal guys. I think if you're relying on the transfer portal for talent, you have to get those reps for offensive linemen, running backs, defensive linemen. It's dumb not to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I really think that we'll have a few teams probably pull out this spring game. They'll go to the SEC Media Day. Teams that didn't play will kind of see that it wasn't that big of a deal, and I think eventually it's probably going to go away. That's my.
You think it's a one-hit wonder, 1 year in wonder?
No, I think it's going to set a precedent.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I just think the way that it's moving and how quickly it's moving, I think if it bodes success and doesn't have as much backlash, and I mean, right now the teams that have dropped out, USC doesn't care. I don't think they're going to be too worried about it.
Well,
Texas,
he's about to get fired anyway. Let's be honest. He can't even win in the Big Ten.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if more people jump on board as it gets closer to the spring game. I think that'll be a bit. I mean, think about it. You've already got tickets. Like people, you created a vacation around this thing. So
over a spring game.
Yeah, over a spring game. Yeah. Look, I hope it doesn't, but I just feel like just the way that college football has been moving and how quickly it's been moving, that's my gut feeling about it. It's gonna be one of those things that we just it's an afterthought 2 years from now. We'll see.
I got a rebuttal back on that. I think the teams that do it, it's going to be a flash in the pan thing. Lincoln Riley's probably going to get fired mid-season or at the end of the season, so he's not going to have a say anyway. And then Sark, let's see what Texas has. They had a favorable schedule last year. They had a pretty easy schedule. They got another pretty easy schedule too this year, but let's see. When Arch Manning goes out and throws 4 picks in the first game or second game, first big competition game, people are going to ask the question. And I don't know why, as a coach, you would want any more questions asked. Why even do it? Why even say you're not going to do it? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time. A lot of moving pieces, and again, I think the whole tampering thing is a poor excuse. I don't like it. I'm hoping maybe could be a stand. I hope some other coaches. I think that needs to be pressed whenever there's an opportunity for the first interview when we're back from this little break that we're on. That we get confirmation from Kirby, we get confirmation from Brent, we get confirmation from Heupel, right? Like these guys, like, no, we're playing, and almost make Sark look like an idiot, and then maybe Sankey can come in and is like, hey, dude, you're the only a-hole not stepping up to the plate here, and everyone's kind of made a stand of like, we're doing it. So you got to figure this thing out, or you're going to pay a fine. I don't know how much control they have over those things, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, boys, I mean, look, good little show, good little pop-up show on these Saturdays. I've been enjoyed doing them. It's been weird. I mean, we kind of been rock and rolling through March here talking about the basketball team. We'll have some baseball probably to talk about. Baseball's a little more sporadic than basketball. What took Little Man to not his first baseball game, but kind of was like actually enjoying it. Like sitting on shoulders, clapping, cheering. We were talking smack to the other team. He was fired up about it. So came home. He was like, baseball. I want to watch baseball. Put the Sandlot on, but he was dialed in. Like, we might have a little Bryce Harper hands. I don't know. It's possible. He's named after the great Josh Beckett. So Boys and girls, Cody the Professor. Y'all be good. Smash the like button. Good to see you. 182 strong. Thank you guys for joining, showing love, whether it's Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, random days of the week. We love you. We've been pumping out some more articles. Be sure to check out our page, hightopsportnos.com, if you guys want to enjoy more reading. Dave's been typing some things up. I've been doing some little bit of do-si-do. We'll have a recap of the basketball game posted here short. I think it's posted now, actually. But if you guys want to get in on that action, check it out. Also, if you guys want to just hear us audio-wise, check us out on iTunes podcast, and I believe on Spotify, too, at High Top Sports. As always, you can find us and listen to us while you're on the road if you don't want to see our ugly faces, and I don't blame you. Cody, anything else? You're muted. Love you, boys and girls. Peace and love, baby. Timu version of Bryce Harper.